Welcome back to Story of Growth, the podcast where we explore the messy, beautiful journey of becoming our best selves. I'm your host, Sarah Chen. Here's a question for you. How many times did you check your phone today? If you're like the average person, it's probably around 144 times. That's once every 6 minutes of your waking life. We're living in what researchers are calling the attention economy, where our focus has become the product being sold. But what happens when you step away from that economy entirely, when you reclaim those 144 moments for yourself? Today, we're diving deep into one woman's 30-day social media detox journey. And trust me, the transformation she experienced goes far beyond just spending less time on her phone. This is the Social Media Detox Diaries, 30 Days That Changed My Mind. Joining me today is Maya Rodriguez, a 28-year-old marketing manager from Denver who just 3 months ago was what she calls a chronic scroller. Maya, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Sarah. I'm excited to share this story.
So let's set the scene. Before your detox, what did your relationship with social media look like?
Oh, man, it was intense. I was on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, LinkedIn, you name it. I'd wake up and immediately reach for my phone. I'd scroll while having my morning coffee, during lunch breaks, before bed. My screen time reports were showing 6 to 7 hours a day. And honestly, I was probably underreporting because I'd turn off tracking when it got embarrassing.
7 hours a day. That's like having a part-time job just consuming content.
Exactly. And here's the thing, I work in digital marketing. So I told myself it was research or staying current with trends. But deep down, I knew it wasn't healthy. I'd be in the middle of conversations with friends and feel this pull to check my phone. I'd watch entire Netflix series while simultaneously scrolling Instagram. I couldn't just be present anymore.
What was the final straw that made you say, okay, I need to do something about this?
It was actually a Sunday morning in January. I was having brunch with my sister. We hadn't seen each other in weeks. And she called me out. She said, Maya, you've looked at your phone 8 times in the last 10 minutes. Am I boring you? And the worst part was I didn't even realize I was doing it. That's when I knew I had a problem.
So you decided to go cold turkey. Tell us about day one.
Day one was a disaster. I deleted all the apps the night before, feeling very motivated and proud of myself. But the next morning, pure panic. I kept reaching for my phone automatically, like muscle memory. I'd unlock it, stare at the screen where Instagram used to be, and feel this weird emptiness.
That phantom vibration syndrome?
Yes! And the FOMO was real. I kept thinking, what if something important is happening? What if there's breaking news? What if my friend posted something and I'm not there to like it immediately? It sounds ridiculous now, but in that moment, it feels urgent.
Research from the University of Pennsylvania shows that even 3 days without social media can significantly reduce FOMO and improve well-being. But those first few days are brutal. What kept you going?
Honestly, spite. I was so frustrated with how addicted I'd become that I channeled that frustration into determination. I also told everyone I was doing it, my family, my coworkers, my friends. I made it impossible to quit quietly.
Smart accountability strategy. What about work? How did you handle the professional side?
That was tricky. I had to have conversations with my boss about delegating the social media monitoring parts of my job temporarily. Thankfully, she was understanding. She actually said she'd been thinking about implementing some digital wellness policies at our company.
Let's talk about the first week. What started to shift?
By day 3, the phantom phone reaching started to fade, but then something interesting happened. I was bored, like genuinely bored for the first time in years. I didn't know what to do with myself. I'd finish having breakfast and just sit there. No infinite scroll to fall into.
How did you handle that boredom?
At first, poorly. I cleaned my apartment obsessively. I reorganized my closet 3 times. But then I started rediscovering things I'd forgotten I loved. I found this half-finished novel on my bookshelf and actually picked it up. I called my mom, like an actual phone call, just to chat.
When did you have your first major breakthrough moment?
Week 2, I was walking to work, and normally I'd be listening to a podcast or scrolling while walking, but that morning I was just walking, and I noticed things. There's this beautiful mural on a building I pass every day that I'd never seen. I heard birds singing. I know it sounds cheesy, but I felt like I was waking up from this digital coma.
That's not cheesy at all. Mindfulness researchers talk about this concept of continuous partial attention, where we're always somewhat distracted. You were experiencing the opposite.
Yes. And then the sleep changes started. I didn't realize how much blue light and stimulation before bed was affecting me. By week 2, I was falling asleep faster and waking up more refreshed. I hadn't experienced natural sleep patterns like that since college.
Tell us about the hardest moment during the 30 days.
Day 18, my friend posted about her engagement on Instagram. I found out 3 days later when another friend mentioned it in person. I felt this wave of guilt, like I'd been a bad friend for not immediately liking and commenting. I almost reinstalled Instagram that night.
What stopped you?
I called her. An actual phone call. We talked for an hour about her engagement, her relationship, her wedding plans. It was so much more meaningful than a quick comment and heart emoji would have been. That's when I realized I wasn't missing out on connection. I was actually creating deeper connections.
That's such a powerful reframe. What other relationships started changing during this time?
My relationship with my sister completely transformed. Instead of sending each other memes and TikToks, we started texting real thoughts and having actual conversations. My boyfriend and I began cooking together in the evenings instead of scrolling in bed. Even my relationship with myself changed. I started journaling because I had all this mental space that wasn't being filled with other people's content.
Let's talk about the transformation. By day 30, what had shifted in your life?
Everything. My focus at work improved dramatically. I was completing tasks that used to take me hours in much less time because I wasn't constantly context switching between work and social media. My creativity exploded. I started a side project, began learning Spanish, even tried watercolor painting.
There's fascinating research from Microsoft showing that our attention spans have decreased from 12 seconds in 2000 to 8 seconds today. Did you notice changes in your ability to concentrate?
Absolutely. I could read for hours without feeling restless. I watched entire movies without reaching for my phone, but the biggest change was in my mental chatter. Before, my brain felt like it was constantly processing, comparing myself to others, curating my own image, analyzing what I should post next. Suddenly, that inner noise quieted down.
That's profound. Studies show that social media use is linked to increased rates of anxiety and depression, particularly among young adults. Did you notice changes in your mental health?
The anxiety relief was immediate. I didn't realize how much stress I was carrying from constantly consuming other people's highlight reels. The comparison trap, the news cycle anxiety, the pressure to maintain my own online presence, it all lifted. By week 3, I felt calmer and more grounded than I had in years.
What about productivity and creativity? You mentioned starting new projects.
It was like my brain had been running background apps that were finally closed. I had mental bandwidth for the first time in ages. I started writing, not captions, but actual journal entries and story ideas. I learned to make sourdough bread. I planned weekend trips instead of just scrolling through travel accounts and feeling envious.
Now, you completed the 30 days 3 months ago. What does your relationship with social media look like now?
I'm intentional about it now. I reinstalled Instagram after 30 days, but I curated my feed differently. I unfollowed accounts that made me feel bad about myself and followed more educational and inspiring content. I have specific times when I check social media, not first thing in the morning or right before bed. I've set up my phone so I have to intentionally open apps rather than having them readily available. And I do mini detoxes regularly, Usually 1 day a week where I stay offline.
What specific boundaries did you implement?
I have a phone-free bedroom policy now. I bought an actual alarm clock. I don't check social media during meals or when I'm with friends. I've set up my phone so I have to intentionally open apps rather than having them readily available. And I do mini detoxes regularly, usually 1 day a week where I stay offline.
What advice would you give to someone who's feeling overwhelmed by their social media use but is scared to take a break?
Start small. You don't have to go cold turkey like I did. Maybe try a morning without checking your phone or implement phone-free meals. Pay attention to how you feel before, during, and after using social media. Are you opening it intentionally or compulsively? How do you feel afterward? Energized or drained?
Any practical tips for making a detox easier?